Well, I want to say one thing first.
Sure.
Every disability, there is every con, but I do believe that whatever the devil has made for evil, God has made for good. And this is displayed in some of the symptoms that have proven to be quite beneficial to those with autism. A lot of people treat autism less like a spectrum and more like something to be feared because it either dumbs someone down or it essentially makes them a genius to be
Audrey,
ridiculed.
and hello, Rebecca. I'm so happy to talk to you. Thank you for suggesting that we do this, Audrey. Can you tell me exactly what you eat and how you, I mean, if it's like 600 things, just generally tell me how you eat.
I usually have stuff like boiled eggs, burger patties. Maybe I'll make myself like a keto sandwich with cheese and condiments.
Okay.
I'll even put some lettuce on it.
Okay. Nice. That sounds yummy.
I also like to have salads, and I like to put let's see.
She really likes Mexican stuff, so guac. She likes the salsa. She likes the sour cream.
Although I mild salsa, mind you, I don't have quite the palate for certain spicy things.
Okay, I don't either anymore. I don't like the way it hurts on the way out.
I don't like the way it hurts my tongue.
Oh yeah, also not fun. Okay, cool. So if you were to say like approximately how many carbohydrates do you eat a day? Or maybe your mom knows if you don't know.
Well, let's see. Today, what did you eat today?
Well, I had 2 burger patties while you were away, and I had boiled eggs for breakfast.
Okay. And then dinner, you had the quesadilla.
Mm-hmm.
Did you eat a salad or anything today?
No.
So today was virtually like 0 carb. It was almost all animal based.
Oh, okay.
Patties, no, you probably did you put sour cream and stuff on it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
it's still animal based.
Yeah, so it was like sour cream. She probably had salsa, and she probably had the guac. So it's probably maybe 20, maybe. Like,
okay. It sounds pretty carnivore-ish.
Very close. She's very keto, like, Nisha's coined the ketovore. Like,
yeah.
It's 20 max on certain days.
Okay.
Nice. It's usually, and it's almost always vegetables. Every once in a while, she'll eat some strawberries because that's one fruit that she does like.
Along with apples, peaches, bananas.
But we don't eat those.
Yeah,
those are the ones that she loves.
Oh, okay.
Here, because Jacob eats watermelon. That's his favorite. Like,
okay.
That she's allowed to have.
When we were talking that day in the hallway, you mentioned that you wanted to tell me some benefits that you felt there were connected to having autism. And I would like to hear your viewpoint because that's different than your twin. He says he has a different viewpoint. And I would like to hear your viewpoint.
Well, I want to say one thing first.
Sure.
Every disability, there is every con. But I do believe that whatever the devil has made for evil, God has made for good. And this is displayed in some of the symptoms that have proven to be quite beneficial to those with autism. So one of these is a higher sense of justice. Autistic people are more likely to actually experience more empathy rather than less, despite what the stereotype displays.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. And do you feel like you have like a good amount of empathy? Like you can feel empathy? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Although I will sometimes get angry at the point, but that's usually at those who have been perpetuating abuse and bullying.
Yeah, I understand that. That's totally normal. It's like a normal feeling. So
really more amplified in those diagnosed with autism.
How does that anger manifest with you?
Well, it usually starts with my anger at the perpetrator. Sometimes one of my coping mechanisms was Beyond Scared Straight because it was a show where I could imagine my bullies or other people's bullies as getting the verbal abuse I believe they deserve.
Oh, okay. I understand. And what are some other benefits that you consider in relationship to this?
Well, a lot of autistic people are able to catch certain things that other people don't. A lot of neurotypical people will sometimes come to simple conclusions. Some, like a lot of people, are strictly liberal or conservative, or they may not notice something that may have a deeper meaning.
Oh, okay.
Autistic people are able to catch certain things that neurotypicals cannot usually find.
Oh, okay.
I will say that they do use them, and there have been talk about using people with autism in the military to look at satellite images because they are able to see finer details.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that some people, like that normal people might not be able to see, like very minute fine details.
Remember when I was close to finding that number in the escape room?
Yes. There's But there's like little tiny details they can see versus like somebody looking at the big picture.
Oh, okay. I guess, I mean, that should be a good quality then. If you can see more specifically than like
Yeah,
a generality.
Yeah. It can be. It can
can
also
be.
be frustrating.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure
Says
you're not
mom.
frustrating because there's something that you don't want to notice?
No.
Good question.
I mean, fair. But
Okay, so did you have anything else you wanted to say about that? About what you felt was like a benefit?
Well, a lot of autistic people were able to make greater things in life. We have Albert Einstein, who contributed to multiple theories. We have the creator of Pokemon, whose creations were actually inspired by his hyperfixation on bugs, in which it extended to being inspired by other animals in the animal kingdom.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. I had no idea either of those people, people had any diagnosis.
We also have Gregory Blackstock. He's one of my favorite artists because he's he's not quite a known member in the autistic community. However, though, he's made a lot of beautiful pieces, a lot of them talking about certain types of items and categories, from planes to bugs to houses.
Oh, wow.
he passed away while we were in Washington State, but he was an autistic individual that was very celebrated in Washington.
Oh,
and
wow.
there's a PBS special about him, and like his art is very good.
A lot of people treat autism less like a spectrum and more like something to be feared because it either dumbs someone down or it essentially makes them a genius to be ridiculed.
That's terrible. I'm not laughing at you, but that's pretty terrible.
I think it would be less funny if they weren't true. A lot of groups I disagree with, like Autism Speaks, treat autism like something to be feared instead of simply another way of thinking.
When you were 14, your mom started drastically changing how you ate. And do you feel that?
Actually, when I was, I think it was when I was 11.
Oh, okay.
She was the first one to go on it after we watched The Magic Pill.
Okay.
We put her on it. Jacob, we were like, it's too difficult. He's got too many food aversions. We're not going to really try it right now. And so she did it because she'll eat anything we put in front of her.
Oh.
So it's really easy. It's just like, you're eating what I ate. Here it is.
Oh, okay.
You know, and she was like, okay. And really well on it until
up until my grandmother's passing.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand. Things can be hard.
We all kind of fell apart. So I stayed on the diet. Nobody else was on it, you know.
Okay.
And I had a really bad love affair with macadamia nuts at the time.
Oh, man. I'm so sorry. It's so hard when someone you love passes or a grandparent passes.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Losing my parents is one of my greatest fears.
Oh. How do you feel about that way of eating? Like, do you feel like it's on your own determinism?
Well, partially. What actually makes the cheat days we have a lot special is because we don't have them as often. And people say you can't cheat at all while on a diet. But in reality, it would actually, cheating on only special occasions would perhaps give us, a lot of people, like in other cultures, will often celebrate with food that otherwise they wouldn't eat as often.
Right.
It kind of gives the special occasions we have, especially in Western society. It essentially gives it that same feeling quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. So it's only partially your choice to eat this way.
Quite partially.
Quite partially. Do you feel that it's helped you?
You mean the negative symptoms?
Yeah, the negative symptoms.
Well, there are a few negative symptoms that I do struggle with. Like it's often, I used to struggle quite badly with social skills, and I would say that learning social skills has been better in my life, but it has essentially given me a sense of paranoia, and now I can no longer trust other kids my age.
I understand.
Especially when I can tell that they're being insincere or essentially see me as younger because of my visible condition.
Okay. Do you look physically younger than other 17-year-olds?
Quite a bit.
Okay. All right. Not to denigrate anything that you say or that you've said, but I just want to tell you that when I was 20, people thought I was like very young. So it can just be a girl thing also, and it's kind of annoying.
But how do you feel like the diet's helped you?
Well, it's
Yeah.
actually, well, a lot of my symptoms with autism haven't necessarily been alleviated, but then again, it's not really something to cure. Now, the real disorders that I've had problems with are maladaptive daydreaming, ADHD, and obsessive compulsive disorder. My disorder, I believe that for the disability of my autism, I do believe I got it from my brother's father, who we believe got it from his father.
Okay.
My father has a special interest, I'd like to say, in history, and he's very passionate about the things he likes and finds important to him, like other autistic people. He also has a hard time expressing certain emotions despite clearly feeling them.
Okay, I understand. So you say it hasn't changed or improved any of the autism symptoms, and that's fine. But so how did it help you with the ADHD, for instance?
Well, I've been focusing a lot more in school, or at least until summer, but that's because it's summer.
Yeah, that's great.
She's way more driven and focused this year since we've tightened it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sugar doesn't help. Sugar or carbohydrates is turning to sugar. It doesn't help the body or the mind. I can feel very out of it also if I eat a lot of carbohydrates. So, and Audrey, how did it help your OCD?
Well, I have started to, some of my compulsions have come to an end since the diet, although some have come back, but that's mostly as a result of scrupulosity. The type of obsessive compulsive disorder I have is scrupulosity and magical thinking, while my father has scrupulosity.
I don't know what that is, though. What is that?
Scrupulosity is a type of obsession that is focused around religion, usually commonly the Christian religion. And magical thinking is the fear that it's basically trying to say certain things in your head to make certain things not happen.
Oh, okay. So I would like to understand more how either of those things are bad. Does that make sense?
Now, a lot of times people think autism is bad, but it has been proven to either be beneficiary or completely neutral. And a lot of the negative things can sometimes be from regular perception because something is considered too strange. There's a song lyric from the Mob song from The Beauty and the Beast that comes quite to mind. We don't like what we don't understand. In fact, it scares us.
Sure. But I'm talking
the scrupulosity. So scrupulosity is where you have, especially, so this is how it manifests in Christianity.
Okay.
It's blasphemous thoughts with compulsive prayer. So the obsession is you have a blasphemous thought and it's really against your character. So it'd be like the Pope.
Intrusive thoughts.
Yes, but it'd be like the Pope having a blasphemous thought that's like when he's giving communion, we're eating Jesus, it's a zombie, which would be it'd be this intrusive, obsessive, blasphemous thought,
which aren't meant to be confused with impulsive thoughts, as they are nowadays.
But it's something that is completely out of character. And so their prayer is to go against that, and so it'd be like repetitively asking for forgiveness, and there's usually a pattern to it. In the compulsive prayer, typically has to be done until the anxiety is alleviated.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to understand it a little bit better so I can understand why that would be compulsive and I can understand why that would cause anxiety.
A lot. So because you'd be like, well, now I'm going to hell because I thought this thought. And it's so there's a lot of soul anxiety there and spiritual anxiety for those people.
Okay. I understand. And Audrey, you say that this is alleviated.
Magical thinking.
I worry that sometimes relatives of mine would turn to certain characters if I didn't do certain things. Or I had to repeat things over in my head as a type of spell thing to try and make sure they didn't turn into animals or the latter. Okay. Not the latter, I meant before.
Okay, I understand. And so both of those things are chilled out. Both of them. I don't mean to, I talk sometimes so relaxedly and I'm not trying to make less of what you were going through.
No, it's fine.
Okay, good.
I still struggle, however, though, with praying to God because sometimes an image pops up of whatever God might look like and I don't want to praise that caricature rather than Yahweh himself.
Okay. So the one thing about OCD that is really frustrating to people with OCD is that it's irrational. They know that the fear and anxiety is completely irrational. Yeah. And yet the thought is still there and the compulsion is still there. And there is a huge overlap between OCD and autism. And it's like probably a subset of study that they are looking at.
Autism is misdiagnosed as obsessive compulsive disorder in pre-adolescent girls.
Okay.
Another problem with ableism, they essentially think that autism can only be found in white boys.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, no, I haven't heard that, but I've heard definitely that it's higher in boys.
It is higher in boys. However, we are starting to see an uptick in girls.
Oh,
it does manifest stronger in girls for some reason. It seems like girls tend to have a more severe case.
And what bothers me about it is that those girls will end up going through school ridiculed by other monstrous girls because they're too different or being female wrong. This is exactly what I went through a multitude of times, especially in the 7th grade when I was sexually harassed by 3 girls. Of course, this is an American school. They did nothing about it, so we had to get the police involved.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
the school wouldn't do anything. It's a school in Pennsylvania. It's their middle school.
Wilson Middle.
As being bullied. You know, that's something
and that's the problem. Schools are willing to discipline these horrible girls because because the girl that is too weird, they're essentially leave to the wolves.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
It is.
And I won't forget the time that last year I was being harassed by a bunch of the other worthless kids in it was our health class, and they wouldn't stop harassing me. Not sexually, mind you, this time, but it was still quite daunting. They were saying stuff like "I love
mean," like kids that like clearly do not want to be friends with her.
Yeah. And frankly, I wouldn't want to be friends with them either.
Well, that's fine too. But it's, you know, but it's like but that's something that's new. Is, you know, her being able to recognize, yes, being able to recognize that people are being fake. So like,
that's great.
Think about the show movie way back in the day, Clueless.
When
act pretending or being sarcastic or overly fake, you know, Mean Girls type stuff.
Oh, Mean Girls, yeah.
You know, and most autistics would not be able to recognize that.
Yeah.
It's something that they've had to learn. And over the past year, she's been picking up on it super, super quick. And I really think it's because we tweaked the diet.
So Audrey, how do you feel about like your OCD now compared to before and now eating this way?
It's most certainly better on terms of magical thinking.
Okay.
That has been a lot better, hasn't it?
Because do you tell your mom when these compulsions start?
Oh, no. Although they're pretty easy to tell whenever I'm struggling to pray.
Yeah, it's really hard for her to tell me about it. And that's really for even my husband that struggles with it.
Oh, okay.
Like I know when he's struggling with it because I've been with him for 20 years. So I've learned. But with her, she's a lot better at hiding certain things.
Oh, okay. Is that like a manifestation? I mean, sometimes people want to hide things, but Audrey, do you think that hiding it is a manifestation of like just wanting to seem normal? And I'm not saying you're not normal, by the way. I'm not saying that.
I'm definitely not normal. Actually.
Okay, good. Okay. So hiding it isn't that you just feel bad or something and you don't want to express it?
I just have a lot of trouble expressing a lot of the negative parts of myself.
Okay.
Well, I think that's kind of normal.
It's totally normal. That's a normal human thing. You don't want to
don't want to be comforted most of the time.
Well, yes. So she does not want to be comforted. So she's not the emotional type. So typically for girls, there's a lot of emotion. She has much less of that.
Okay.
And is more matter of fact. Wouldn't you say?
Quite a bit. Although there are times when I will be sad by myself, but I will never talk about those times. I prefer to be sad alone.
Okay. I understand. I hope that these questions aren't too intrusive. I'm just very curious. Okay.
No, there are a lot of questions that do need to be answered.
Sure. And I appreciate your answers. I need to watch this movie, The Magic Pill.
It's like a documentary on keto.
Oh,
and using a ketogenic diet for different things. And there are multiple autistic kids on there that they've used it with. And you get to see kind of how they progressed a little bit. And it was pretty remarkable. And I was like, me and James were like, yep, we're doing this.
I actually really am happy that I'm autistic. I mean, a lot of the things I have special interests or hyperfixated on have given me a lot of joy, and it's made me, and I am never bored with the thoughts that I have and enjoy.
That's great then. Like what? Can you give some examples?
Kirby, Indigo Park, cartoons dealing with serious issues, writing.
Okay. Are you a writer?
She is.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I don't know where it is. I need to find it. But I have sample of her writing somewhere, and it was, what was the funny one? There was a funny one. It was like a Valentine's Day one that was really funny.
No. It's one of my friends that it was my friends back then that helped me with that. It wasn't me.
Oh, well, never mind.
No, I mean, it was partially, but it was mostly them because.
Well, then it was them. Never mind.
Okay, so
I guess you can edit that out. She did.
I will.
I used to write stories though, and I used to print them out on the computer.
Yes, one of them was really interesting. It was like once upon a time there was a king and a queen, and they bore a child. She was 6.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
Probably at the time where I was reading a few fairy tales.
But it was like, but bore a child. It was like
very good grammar vocabulary.
Grammar nut. What do you do for fun? Tell them what some of the things you do for fun with grammar.
Well, I do like to pick words out of the dictionary and write down their definitions.
Nice.
I actually used to look up random words on the computer just to do that back in the 6th grade. Although I probably didn't say that since it was near the end of the 6th grade.
That's
I used my laptop and my English finder.
Nice. Can you tell me like 10 things you enjoy doing? If you have 10 things you enjoy doing?
Yes.
Okay.
I like consuming fan art and fan media.
Okay.
I like discussing headcanons, theories, themes, and characters and backstories.
Okay.
And I like drawing comics, and I like drawing fan art.
Gosh. I would love to see some of that.
I like typing.
Tell her about the animation too.
Oh, I have been practicing some animations, though I haven't quite recently. I think the latest would have to be a few weeks ago.
Okay. I would love to see some of your artwork. I would love it. Yeah. Now, Audrey, can you tell in yourself any other benefits you see from eating this way?
Well, when you stopped the Abilify, we did finally start getting you healed from that.
Oh yeah, it actually helped us after the aftermath of having Abilify.
What's Abilify?
Abilify is an antipsychotic, and it is adjunct, like off-label. They've started using it as adjunct therapy to antidepressants. So if people
are harsh,
really, it is really harsh. So if you're not responding super well to like Zoloft, they're going to try something like Abilify with it to help. It's also adjunct or off-label use for impulsive behavior in people with autism. So the problem with Abilify and some of these antipsychotics is that they cause metabolic syndrome and diabetes
and Cushing's
and pseudo Cushing's. So Cushing's is when you have too much the like an overactive adrenal system. So you're getting a lot of cortisol, which is the like natural steroid in the body.
Yeah.
So lowers your immune system. It increases your blood pressure.
It's terrible.
It increases blood glucose while and increasing insulin. So all of this is like a super dump of stress hormones, and you just end up with a pseudo Cushing syndrome. So you get overweight, you get fat accumulation in weird spots like the hump on the back of the neck. Your face gets very moon shaped and very round. Wow. You get stretch marks like on your knees, on your belly, like you just get them in weird places. And it took, because I weaned her off, I got sick of the side effects of it.
Sure.
And so I started weaning her off, and it's one you can't just go off of.
I'm sure. I don't think you just go off of any of those. You have to do it really like carefully and safely.
Yes. And I'll tell you one of the things that we have done is that we've started weaning her off now. Well, not started. We're almost completely done with weaning her off her antidepressants too.
I love that. And that's crazy because there's so many other side effects that happen.
So many other side effects. And the one that she was on or is still on, she only takes it 3 times, like a half a pill 3 times a week. And next week it'll be a half a pill.
I love that.
2 days a week.
I'm just curious. Okay, so let's go back to this Abilify thing for a second. So so you got her off of that, and you can jump in at any time, Audrey. I don't want to cut you off. How did the diet help that scenario of needing to be on it and then getting off of it?
It's
not really something that I took much of a focus on at the time.
No, but I will say that it was hard to tell the effects.
Okay.
Because we had her on a very strict 20 grams of carbs per day. I was very diligent. I was even feeding her the highest amount of fat that I could possibly get with making sure she gets enough protein for her age. And it took maybe a year before we even started seeing the weight that she had gained on the medication
Oh, wow.
to even start coming off. She's about 20 pounds down from.
You look great. She looks great.
She's done so good. And,
Yeah.
it took so long to fight it. And
Yeah.
I think that this is probably something that if you look in the mental health community, anybody that's on antipsychotics, they are overweight.
Mm.
They are very overweight. They have diabetes, they have excessive like cortisol symptoms. And I think that, it's going to take time to heal that because that
Sure.
does so much damage.
That's terrible. It's so bad.
Such an ugly drug. Look them up. It's just second generation antipsychotics. And it's, Abilify is the one she was on.
Wow. I'm so sorry. One of the purposes of my channel is to like educate people about these nasty side effects of these drugs that I don't look, if we can just eat a proper diet and handle more so without the side effects, like I want to tell people about that. It's like one of the main impetuses of my channel. So thanks for explaining that. It's not just about losing weight and looking sexy. I think I would have given up a long time ago.
It's not going to exactly be about that. It should more so be about trying to help your health system. It's
Right.
it's not being plus size that's the problem. It's the side effects that come
Right.
from obese.
Right. Totally. And the side effects of taking medications that don't help you. Like,
Well, there's some really great documentaries out there on, and I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was about people being on these mental health drugs.
yeah.
And the permanent damage that it has done to these people.
Right.
And
I've seen many documentaries like that.
yeah, and it just absolutely is like horrific. And I remember watching one and they were talking a lot about veterans and seeing the damage that they had. And I was thinking about her and I was like, oh my gosh, I let them put her on this medication because that's what they said was it. And about that same time is when Dr. Chris Palmer's book came out.
Yeah.
And it was like brain energy. Oh my gosh, he's using this to heal. Oh my gosh, it heals this too. It's not just about healing, diabetes and
Right.
weight loss and, high blood pressure. It's healing the brain too. And
Right.
I think that's when we started weaning her off. So I've been weaning her off of medications now since his book came out. So when was that?
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Oh, that was awesome. I don't know when his book came out.
2022 maybe?
Oh, great. It's great. Audrey, what do you think about this? Do you think it's great that you're getting off these medications?
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
I'll say that the only treatment for OCD that has the best, I was going to say has 100%, but it's not 100%.
Yeah.
The best track record is going to be exposure therapy.
What's that?
And finding somebody to do it is very hard. So that's like,
Or exposure and response therapy.
well, exposure and response therapy is what it is. So it'd be like, oh, well, you have blasphemous thoughts. Well, we're going to play nothing but satanic, blasphemous things that you are not allowed. No, it's like, and you're not
That's not
allowed.
what they did with me.
Not with you, but I'm saying that's one that it's like exposing you. It's like if somebody has a dirt fetish, they're like,
Yeah.
I have a phobia to dirt. I have to wash my hands 50,000
That's not a
times.
fetish.
No, not a fetish, but you know what I'm.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh yeah.
The phobia of dirt, then they would have to sit with mud on their hands.
Okay.
Or they would have to spread it all over their body.
Like
And
they have
then,
to confront it, like look at it and confront it sort of thing. And like
Yes.
look at it in the real life.
like with hers, what was it? It was that you couldn't walk between.
Certain things right end up in another dimension.
Yeah. So there's certain things that if she walked between two of them, so let's say it was a book here and a book here, she walked between them, she was afraid she would enter into another dimension. So she'd have to have a path around them.
Okay.
So the therapist actually did some exposure therapy to her, and I wasn't there. How'd they do it?
Well, I think he mostly just put two things in front of me, and we would make an attempt, and I think he would say that that I tried anyways, and yeah, it was mostly about progress and making attempts, or at the very least seeing it.
Yeah.
Or seeing how I'd react to seeing it.
I mean, and she did make progress with the exposure therapy, so
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because it didn't have anybody yelling at me or being upset about it. I had someone to make proud.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. That makes sense. I understand. How do you feel about the subject of bullying with neurodivergent people or anybody?
I think too many people, because they see something as weird as they have in the past with things like Islam, Christianity, being gay, that kind of stuff. It's the same thing with autistic people.
Sure.
Like they always try to change autistic people. Like they say that autistic people should be normal so they don't get bullied. But but have they considered that masking is very painful for a lot of autistic people,
Okay.
and that instead we should be teaching other neurotypical children to be tolerant, like what we should be teaching, like what adults should know, to agree to disagree and to ignore things that may not be comfortable for them but are harmless and are comfortable for another.
Okay, I understand. And what do you think?
What do you mean what I think? I think I've just quite explained what I think.
No, I mean like in terms of like masking or trying to seem more normal.
I think it's inherently useless. If you're going to ignore the gifts while also pretending that you don't have the cons, and you're willing to let people cross your boundaries just so you can be seen as a normal person, then you're only going to eventually break down and become a husk of your former self while being miserable because you can never actually truly be yourself.
Wow, that's great. That's very deep. That was not the answer I was expecting, but I'm glad I got it. That's so true. Yeah. People need to be themselves. That's what
you're fine. I still say normal. You know, she'll correct me, like neurotypical. Like,
well, that's mostly because normality is an illusion.
Normality is an illusion.
Totally. Nobody's normal. Everybody's weird. Everyone's unique.
There's a reason why gay people were wrapped up in carpets and burned, and Christians are still being killed in the Middle East. And
yeah,
it's crazy.
I am against both anti-Christian discrimination and homophobia. I am against those things. That's why I'm using them as examples, because because in both locations there are things that are considered not normal, like whether you're Christian, Islam, like Messianic Jew, or trans, or cis but weird, or
I'm cis but weird. Sorry. I hope she doesn't get offended. Does Audrey understand Audrey, do you understand my humor? Like, I just sometimes think
yes, I understand. Like,
okay,
it's not considered normal, whether it be because of culture or because of the history that's happened so long, or it can be for a number of reasons, but it all comes down that a lot of discrimination comes from the form of not seeing something as normal or proper.
Right. It doesn't conform to that whatever that status quo is. And so it gets looked at badly or whatever, or negatively. But Audrey, it was like a lovely conversation with you.
It's a lovely conversation with you as well, and I appreciate your mindedness, and I hope that I have made no offense.
Oh yeah, me too. Trust me. You haven't. I hope I haven't been offensive.
No. You've been great.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Do you want to say anything else before we finish talking here?
No.
Okay.
How about kids just stop bullying? She does. One of the things she gets made fun of, and you can put this anywhere you want to, if you want to in the video, is that she speaks formally. If she speaks amazing. If she was in England, she would be normal.
Or at the very least, adored by the adults.
At very least. So it's like here, because she says present.
Well, I think that's because America is going through a surge of anti-intellectualism.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, no, kids need to read. Kids need to get off their phones and they need to start reading books again. Sorry. I don't know. Do you like reading, Audrey?
She loves reading. Oh my gosh. You read. Tell her what you're reading right now, because you've got multiple books going.
Well, there's Fahrenheit 451, Stephen King's The Stand. There's this beautiful comic called The Dragon Tapestry. And
I haven't heard that one.
You're reading Othello?
Othello.
Oh, wow.
Here. And
I've never read that one.
And I finished my volume 5 of the Comey Can't Communicate manga.
Oh, nice. I don't read manga or comics. In fact, I need to read more books. I used to read all the time. So
I love that. Something I wanted to mention is that a lot of children would actually probably get off their phones left if we brought back a public children's spaces like playgrounds, centers. Like, a lot of the reasons why children are on their screens a lot is because these things are just gone. Like,
well, I think they like since 2020, it's just destroyed social, like, one of the things,
you can't even find children's spaces in public anymore. Like, a lot of children's websites are just gone, or they're really dependent on Flash, or have to be completely archived.
Yeah, well, it's like, it's, it was a huge detriment to the kids in the autistic community when COVID shut everything down. We had to fight to get her in-person school because she was just failing at the online. She didn't have the focus to be able to, and the independence to be able to do that. So a lot of autistic kids, we all had to fight to get our kids in school and be like, we will risk COVID just to get our kids an education. Jacob was okay, sort of, but she really took a tumble backwards, and it was really hard to catch her back up. And she can't be the only one.
No, I heard no, absolutely
There's
not.
no socialization. Their social skills took a tank.
I do have one more question, Audrey. Are you gonna maybe twofold? Are you gonna go to college?
I think I'll take an online courses for animation.
Oh, great. So is that like your career path? Like what you want to do is animation?
Well, that or I might go into directing or making graphic novels.
Sounds awesome. That's great.
And another one of her pastimes is learning
Japanese.
Yep, she's learning.
Oh wow,
Japanese.
that's crazy. Is that okay? Another question.
She
Is
loves
your
it.
ability to learn Japanese? Do you think it has something to do with the autism?
Well,
Very much
partly.
so.
Well, yes, actually, especially since like something about Japan is just like from like the fact that the culture and the modern technology are all mixed together in such a way to the fact that some of my favorite media, such as Gregory Horror Show, one of my favorite horror anime, you can actually in Popular Performer, you can which wasn't actually meant to be a kid show. I think it was meant to be for older teens or older
Yeah.
kids, but like it got put on the kids station in Japan anyways.
Oops.
And both of my favorite media, and they originate from Japan, as well as the fact that the architecture and the food.
Oh wow, awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, last question. I promise. When you're 18, are you
Mhm.
going to keep eating this way?
I'm not sure. I mean, I might cheat a little more. Like, I might integrate a few things, but like, I still want to stay as healthy as possible. So it'll probably just be like every few Friday things or stuff like that.
Okay.
Like a little less strict, but not anymore. Well, it's enough. It's just enough where I can still have, the same results.
Okay. Yeah, you want to get the same results. That makes sense. And I guess you'll feel it if you go too far off.
Yes, I always feel it.
You do?
Mhm.
So if you eat a cookie, what happens?
And I'll probably be fine if I eat a cookie, but like if I eat like an entire meal, I'll probably end up throwing up later, or at the very least, end up burping stuff up. Probably due to
Okay.
gastrointestinal issues I've had.
Yeah,
Like
we didn't even talk about any of that stuff, but
Yeah, so they both they'll sometimes they'll be like, yeah, it doesn't happen, nothing happens to me. But then like she's like, I don't feel good.
yeah,
I'm sick to my stomach.
sure.
Or she'll be like, yeah, and I've been in the bathroom pooping like for the past hour.
Oh no.
I've noticed a lot is that people like in Japan or Italy, they have a lot of grain-based diets.
Right.
Yes.
But here in America, and it just feels like, I feel like a part of the problem is overconsumption. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, and in Europe, they've banned a lot of things that we allow.
Right. Right.
So they can't have genetically modified, they can't have lab grown meat, they can't, like, everything is very pure there compared to us.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And when they
And not to
start
mention
eating
that
our imported crap.
Right. I want to say thank you again, Audrey.
Oh,
I did it. I like hearing everything you have to say.
well, you're welcome. It's not every
Yeah.
day that I hear that.
And I'm sorry that you don't hear it more.
Well, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'm always chatting with your mom. So if we're talking on the phone, not always, we chat once in a while. But if you ever want to say hi, you totally can.